Welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. So this is why I made this hi-fi channel. You can read the text by pausing the video. It's a pretty long piece of text, sorry for that guys, but I am very thorough and nerdy, and if I had to read all of this stuff up, it would probably take like 40 minutes and then nobody would click on the video and get this important information. So it's in two parts, the why I made this channel, and then there is how you can get in contact with me. So you can receive help with your system if you want to send me an email. Let me just get to that. It starts right here, that part here. Okay, I am going to make it bigger so that everybody can follow this text. And yeah, I am glad that I made this channel, even though it's been it felt like me basically against the entire industry. And it's so ironic because I'm basically the one uniting people, giving them the power to whatever gear that they have, that it reacts, so they can reach those small steps towards whatever brand at whatever level that they want to get to. And I just find it ironic, but yeah, hi-fi the hi-fi business has not been very nice to me. Let's just be try and be a bit nice and say it just like that. You know, we don't have to get into detail, but I spoke to a lot of people pretty high up in the chain at a lot of companies, and I generally get the feeling from a lot of companies that that they are pretty what can you say, antisocial, and they'd rather want to be doing their thing, not collaborating with others, raking in the money, because it is possible. Let me just make it a last big size text so everybody can read it. Yeah, and it just you know, I'm one of those type of people who just are really stubborn, and almost no people in the world would discover all of this information because they'll need a reason before doing it in order to look in that direction. And when as soon as you need a reason and it's based on money and a good theory, how can you document this? How does it look good as a product? As soon as those like three things have to fall into place, then you won't, as a company or an individual person, find the truth. Because I am one of the few audiophiles that believes that finding the truth in hi-fi is not just a question of, you know, getting a good speaker with a good amp in a good room and then you get like a decent DAC. You know, I feel that there's a lot more to hi-fi than that, and I feel that most people in the business just mostly believe in that model. You know, I am all about first getting just some decent okay gear, but if you can't do that, making sure that the handshake, the quality of the handshake, like I've written here, that you just get a much better handshake than normal. I feel that it's a lost art, and it kind of frustrates me, you know, and it's also one of the reasons why I just don't want to be making more videos, because, you know, financially this isn't really doing anything for me. You know, it's actually costing me a lot of money giving people this information. But, you know, if no one's going to do it, how is the industry then going to survive? You know, it's kind of frustrating, you know. I've been to a lot of dealers and seen a lot of the tricks that they use to sell gear, and nobody should keep these things private, because why do that? It hurts the business for all brands. Everybody should know all the small tricks, how to get all pieces of gear on the market to be able to sing more, to produce music, and to make it just, more than something that you just listen to maybe once every week or once every second week. I feel that hi-fi needs to be a bigger part of our life. And yeah, that is why I made this channel. I truly wanted to help people at a deep level. And a lot of the companies that I worked with before, I was never allowed to solve problems at the root, because a lot of times when you do that, it puts a lot of pressure on your colleagues, and if they can't deliver the same amount of service, then your leader is going to be like, then we can't use you in our company, because that's going to take time, and we can't document that to our investors, and yada yada yada. It just really annoys me. It isn't just about the hi-fi industry. I've been working in IT for, I would say, almost 20 years. And it's especially also in IT where we're constantly bombarded with information, but we're never told how to communicate properly. So we are acknowledging, like, this is for me, my intention is to go here, I am going to do this by this time, this is the plan, boom, 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 stick to it, be loyal to your colleagues, be loyal to your boss, be loyal to the company. You're not rewarded for that. You're just rewarded to be some kind of a person that is a slave, that can somehow do something so other people don't have to really know about it. It kind of frustrates me. It almost doesn't matter what you do in life. Full truth is not accepted, because once you get into full truth, suddenly you as a customer don't depend on certain people or certain companies or certain services, and then they can't get the money that they need out of you. But they need to realize that if we all need to get to audio nirvana, if you want to get to that end destination sound, we have to put ourselves out there and make it possible for people to see the full truth. For me, it's all about the deepest truth, and getting those hard hits, so you emotionally evolve and enjoy music more. If I was just a regular guy that listened to like, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 30 brands here, and I just bought my way to a good sound, I wouldn't enjoy it nearly as much. Even though if I was able to buy gear that was 2, 3, 4, 5 times better than I currently have, because it's an art. It's an art of making components talk to each other. You can't just purely depend on money, or buying a certain brand, or having a certain amp with a certain speaker in a certain room, and then having an okay DAC that is like 1 out of 20. There is a hell of a lot more to hi-fi, and that is why I made this channel. I still want everybody in the world to win, and it just pained me to see, when I was going to friends' places and strangers' places, how bad they were at making gear talk. And they almost always had gear that was slightly better than me, and some of them a lot better than me. But even the guys that had gear that was a lot better than mine, I was still able to make my shitty gear sound a lot better than their gear. and they were just throwing, $2,000 here, $7,000 here, 12,000 on whatever, and they were just like, and that's good. The industry survives, but I just feel bad for people. Having invested $12,000 in a new amp, and all they get is a soundstage that is perhaps 1.5 times bigger and a tiny bit more detail. I feel that $12,000 has to give you more than that. It isn't just about the fast detail or the super visceral bass that you can feel with your body. I feel that a lot of times we're just too focused about the gear and not enough about the art of making the gear speak together. If you went to a normal guy who would give you an audio consultation, usually what they would set you up with was something like, I don't know, a starter Macintosh or a starter Pass Labs system, or something like a starter Hegel system. And you would probably, then they would recommend Cardus cables or MIT or AudioQuest cables. And that's all, okay, decent gear. But, I mean, then you're starting off having used like 20, 30, 40, $50,000, and you're doing that and thinking, okay, I got a really good sound here, but you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that the sound that you got is only about 10, 15, maybe 20% of what it's capable of doing. And that's what I do. I basically raise the efficiency of people's systems so that it goes from the usual 5, 10, 15, maybe 20% of what it's capable of doing to more like 30, 40, 50%. And of course, if you do everything on my channel and you, for example, build the streamer that I suggest on my page, which I, by the way, earn nothing on, which cost me a lot of money to reveal. But if you do that, then maybe you'll get up to like 65, 70%. And then, yeah, you'll probably get like a consultation hour or two for me. And then maybe you'll go up to like 80%. But going close to 100% efficiency of the system that you have is really, really difficult. There is almost an unlimited amount of potential with a lot of gear in the, I would say, mid to higher end of hi-fi. There is a lot of potential there. I would say pretty much unlimited, especially when you get into the high class. But even the people at the lowest classes that are stuck with pretty pathetic gear, even that gear can do a hell of a lot more. Even that gear can beat a lot of the normal contenders in the mid class, But you need someone like me who's done this for years. And I just see it constantly. I see it constantly where people contact me. They've got a 50, 100, 150 $1,000 system. A lot of people have that, surprisingly enough. But they're constantly focusing on what seems like a big step. And it is a big step. But what also most people have to realize is that you have to go a step back and deal with the base of the sound in order for whatever you buy to give you that 2, 3, 4, 5 steps forward. If you're just constantly buying your way to a solution, which a lot of people are doing, I mean, you'll easily be throwing $1,000 to $5,000 out of the window per year, easily. I know a lot of people, a lot of my ex-friends, they were using like 20 to 50 to 75K on a lot of mid-class gear. And yeah, the specs were better, it looked better, it also sounded a bit better, but what they got out of 20, 50, 75,000 US dollars was typically just more power, it was more effortless, bigger soundstage, and just a tiny bit of detail. Really? For that amount of money, I could have bought perhaps 2 Tesla cars just for that difference. And I could have actually taken a lot of those friends' systems, and I could have just said to them, okay, you go and sell all of this gear, and I'm going to make you a system for half of that money that's going to be 2 to 3 times better. I could do this, but a lot of people are not willing to do this because it has to look good. There has to be some prestige. There has to be some sales pitch saying that this is better. Why would a person go from having 500 to 1,000 watt monoblocks down to an integrated amp? You know, that most people are going to think, you know, that's a step backwards. But no, going from monoblocks to an integrated amp, a decent integrated amp. You know, I'm not talking about the really shit ones at the bottom, but just a decent one. That will many times solve a lot of people's problems. And then when you do stuff like just working from the source, you know, towards the speaker instead of working from the speaker towards the amp, towards the DAC, you know, again, that's going to save a lot of people a lot of heartache. And I constantly get a lot of mails from people who actually have some pretty decent systems, but a lot of them, they are, I would have to say, people that have stuff like Paz Labs, Mark Levinson, Macintosh, Hegel, stuff like that, and they're trying to go for gear that is perhaps Burmeister, Dan Agostino, Griffin, that type of gear, you know, and that would of course make things better, but my job is to make sure that before that happens, we get all the basics in order so that when you throw 20, 50, 75, 100K onto gear like that, you don't want something that's only 2 times better or 1.5 times better. You want something that's 4, 5, 6, 7 times better. And then ultimately what you really want is something that is so good at the source level, where all the basics are in place, so that whatever gear you touch and put from the market onto your system, that will ultimately react 10, 15, maybe 20 times more if you're lucky and good to get into that zone, you know. And I was one of those really, really lucky people, maybe one in a handful of people on this planet that knew how to do that. And I just felt that it's my responsibility, you know, it's my responsibility to make sure that people don't lose out on what they bought. Because I feel just so bad when people have gear that's better than mine, and I can still make my gear sound a hell of a lot better than theirs. And I feel so bad that when people go to stores and they listen to stuff and they feel that, okay, this amp can't do proper bass, this speaker can't do a proper wide or high imaging with the sound. And I feel so bad because many times they are right to some degree, but typically how people solve that problem is usually in an overkill way, where yes, they do get a huge improvement, small to medium to huge improvement on the stuff that they buy, but trust me, you don't want to be throwing 20, 50, 100, 150K at problems that just make the sound 1.5 to to maybe 3 times better. You really want that stuff to be a hell of a lot better. And that's why I made this channel. That's why I provided the information that was for free. And that is why I've made it possible for you guys to contact me. So if you guys want to get in contact with me, there's my email. I hope that you will enjoy the information on my site. I'm sorry that it isn't more mainstream. I'm sorry that it isn't as popular and nice and entertaining and tells people what they want to hear. But I am basically the only guy who's going to tell people what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. And I'll, of course, try to be as diplomatic as possible, but you have to know that I am not biased. I am not all into just 1, 2, or 3 brands. I have the possibility of making all the brands across all the levels sound the way that you want. So if you want a certain brand and you want it more analytical than normal, or more warm than normal, or more whatever, a wider soundstage or whatever, I'm your guy. Okay, just send me a mail and I'll try and look at it. But just to wrap things up, it isn't just because of those things. I have stuff going on in my life. I'm upgrading my my house. I'm doing some building projects. Those are gonna take some years. I also have some job changes going on, and I just can't keep on giving stuff for free to the people. But I've made sure now that the balance in the audio world has been restored, so that you, as a user on the lowest levels to the mid levels to the highest levels to the highest high levels, all have the tools now that you need. And of course, there's like, I don't know, 25% extra that I haven't put on my channel. So if you want that, typically you then have to send me an email. And I can, of course, then also in that consultation give you like how to make your own cables, what cables to buy, how these cables rank in the world, the best tubes to buy, how you can get something that's better than a speaker kit for the specific speaker that you have. So if you guys also want that, fine, contact me, then we'll figure out something. And yeah, I won't be making a lot of videos simply because I feel that my work is mostly done and there isn't much left in the hi-fi world that I haven't covered. I will probably make like a video once every half year or something like that. That is my expectation. I think in a week I'll probably make my last video on how you can contact me. And just generally I would try and make a video every half year, because every half year I'd probably be able to release some pretty big and important information. But it's just so you guys know. So if you guys want to get in contact with me, I just don't look at YouTube comments anymore, simply because I don't have the time to do that anymore. But remember, it was me who restored balance in the audio world. It was me who made people maintain their jobs. It was me that made it possible so that stores still would be there. So I would like some gratitude from the people in the hi-fi community for what I've done. It has not been easy getting this information. I have gotten this information from all kinds of people, friends that I still really like, who are very supportive. But it needed to be done because this industry was very corrupt for many years, and I feel that I have restored a big part of that, so that people now have the tools. You don't have to agree with me with the sound of Macintosh or Vincent or Musical Fidelity or Super Cables or whatever, but I've still, for those people that didn't like me, I've still empowered them and made it possible for them to reach 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than compared to before. Nobody wanted to give this information because everybody wanted to keep their cards for themselves so they can keep on raking in the money. I have now made it possible. So yeah, that was the mission with this channel: saving the audio industry, making sure that it will grow, making sure that the YouTube channels would grow, so the interest would grow. So there are still a lot of channels on YouTube that I really like. It's not that all channels are fake. I feel that a lot of them have improved, especially channels like New Record Day. Still one of my favorite channels. I like Ron a lot, and there are also some few other channels that I like. But yeah, I just can't keep doing this for free, and I feel that I have restored a big part of the injustice that was in the system. And yeah, it's definitely taken a physical, mental toll on me. But yeah, at least I made it possible by taking the hit that nobody wanted to get hit by. So yeah, send me a mail if you want some help. And yeah, most of the stuff that I know is actually on my channel. It will just take you a couple of 100 hours to get through. If you want to skip that, just go, send me an email, and then it will make it, of course, a lot easier for you. But if you want to, save on that money and use several months on binging on my videos, do that. But at least I wish that the community would appreciate me a bit more, and also hurts my feelings a bit when people say that I'm sponsored or affiliated with some brands just because I'm really passionate. That hurts me. And I can tell you that I've actually asked several times for free gear, for giving companies information that would improve their sound. I mean, I've raked in millions of dollars for up to current date for many companies, not just AudioNote and not just YBA, not just Verity and other companies like that. I just feel that it would be nice if some of those many companies that I supported, that they would also just send a bit of support towards me. I think you could but I don't have really any high expectations of that happening ever. I would one day like to work with HIFI, even in a factory that smells a lot. I'm just really tired of the IT industry. I think the IT industry is basically worse than the HIFI industry. And it's a lot of managing insanity. But yeah, I would really like to have a hi-fi job one day, working either in a store or repairing gear, or even just shit job, just like moving speakers onto a truck, setting it up at a customer's place. I am deeply passionate about hi-fi, and funny note, I got a big kick out of helping. It's at least more than 1,000 people that I've helped throughout the years. I got a big kick out of it because to me it felt like I owned a bit of their systems, knowing that I changed it, and just seeing the pictures from people looking at the combinations, having them describe it. It just, it's just some of the most gratifying thing in hi-fi, and I just love it when people get a rare piece of gear and then they send me a mail back like, "Ooh, yeah, I couldn't have done this without you," and I got my Sarastro speaker because of you, and my Bird speaker because of you, or my Rockport speaker, or I got this and that monoblock or whatever because of you, and it's that was really rewarding. It's yeah. So it would be nice one day working with hi-fi, so I didn't have to deal with this other insane business of IT. But yeah, balance restored. The power is now in your hands. You can now do whatever you want with your gear and get a hell of a lot more out of it. And the entire industry will benefit from it. And perhaps one day this will pay off for me karma-wise. So maybe I'll be reincarnated as a planet or a snake or whatever. Yeah. But it has been hard, It has been hard putting this information out and dealing with all the skeptics that, of course, didn't try the stuff that they criticized. But yeah, you know how to get in contact with me, and it might take a day or two or three before I answer the mails because I just have a lot to do in my life. Now I have to take care of my family, taking care of the hi-fi community. So this is me logging off, and have a nice day.